Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new Hangout video right here on Night Owl Video. Thank you so much for joining me again today. It is almost the end of March, and I don't know about you, but I was just saying to myself, why it was just the other day, I was saying, self, when is this damn month going to come to an end? Because I've had enough of March. This past week we've had a couple of not snowstorms, but just, 2 to 5 centimeters every day, just enough to just be irritating, and you're waiting for the warm weather to come, and it's very tiresome. As you can see, I'm gonna bring it a little closer here. As you can see, I am moving again. Things are just changing up a bit for me, but I'm still here. I know last week I was a bit down on it, or 2 weeks ago I was kind of down on the channel, just because the channel's not really going anywhere, and it's not a lot of work to put these videos together, but it's enough. But I'm still here. I'm still hanging in, as they say. I hope you're doing well out there in video land. This is the Hangout. If you're new here, I encourage you to get a warm beverage, or even use that cool mug that my friend Tracy gave me, or your own mug, of course, because you're not here. You can get a warm beverage, cold beverage, no beverage. You can draw in your sketchbook. You can do some needle pointing. You can clean the house if you want. Just pop me on in the background. I'll be talking about music, movies, upcoming physical media releases for DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks. I'll tell you a little bit about what I watched this past week, what I listened to, and like you saw in the thumbnail, I did have a massive, for me, a massive CD haul. I went to the city yesterday, the grand city of Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I visited a couple of new places to me, and I was able to find some cool stuff, and there's some interesting stories to be told. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the things that I watched, let's start with the things I watched this week, because it really wasn't a lot. Early in the week, I finished watching these are the Jason movies, but the Friday the 13th franchise, as these are part of it. I watched Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason. And this is a cool little box that I picked up a couple of years ago at I guess it was on a Kijiji or Facebook listing, but they're in those thin covers, slip covers, but kind of a cool little set. These are not great movies for me. Let's put them in. My OCD's kicking in there. These are not, by any stretch of the imagination, great movies. This is just, usually when I binge the Friday the 13th series, I have to at least include these ones in it, even though they're not part of the Paramount original run. But yeah, these movies, this is, now you're getting really into the, if you're not familiar with the Friday the 13th series, this is the cheese on top of the dinner. This is the fried cheese on top of the dinner. These movies are cheese ball. Even, I have to admit, I was even watching these just because it was part of my marathon. I thought to myself, I don't know how many more times I'm going to be able to digest these films in my life, because I'm getting to the point where I'm like, it's just so bad. Now, that said, there are some awesome parts to these movies. I really don't like Jason Goes to Hell. I thought that was really, really cheesy. That's the one where he's like a body hopping demon, and it's like the worm comes out of Jason and goes into another guy, and it swaps bodies, and so you're, I guess they were trying to do something different with the series, but they should have killed the series long ago. Unfortunately, we're getting a TV. Of course, we're getting a TV series. I can't remember. I don't know if it's Paramount and A24. I don't know. They're doing some Crystal Lake show, but yeah, this is, to me, when someone says guilty pleasure, I don't know if these are just I'm just guilty right now. It's just real cheese, but I'll leave it at that. The Mask, The Mayhem, The Monster, a trilogy of terror. So let me know your thoughts on those films. I would say of the three, probably Freddy vs. Jason is the best, but that's not saying a lot. So let's put that up there. Yeah, so the reason I said I'm moving is because I've had to empty off my shelves, and I've actually moved this shelf next to my Lazy Boy, and I've kind of been enjoying having an empty shelf beside me. I kind of move things around, and I think it, for my OCD, or I don't know, there's something appealing about it, which I never really thought of a bookcase as being like sort of a temporary space to kind of, oh, I'll set my coffee here, my Kleenex box here, and oh, I got a couple books, I'll put those there, and then I've got some treats, and then things move throughout the week, and I don't know, it's been kind of a weird experience. Let's have a sip of our beverage. I'm enjoying extremely expensive coffee. Any of you coffee drinkers out there know the price of coffee is insane. I believe the President's Choice, and I have no affiliation to them, President's Choice Canadian Blend, regular price, $26 for like it. Oh, I got it right here. $26 for this carton, which is 930 grams. I know I bitch about the prices of coffee on most of my videos, but it is just so ridiculous. And I know you're going to roll your eyes and say, oh, I know, you had to walk in blizzard conditions for 3 miles to get to school when you were a kid. But no, seriously, 5 years ago, I used to get that same tin of coffee or carton of coffee for, on the very best sale, $6.99. So you tell me. I know there's crop problems and things. Speaking of problems, Bill Bixby had a big one, and it was the Incredible Hulk. I'm trying to do that for your enjoyment. Let's see. Oh, look there you go. So it's like there's Bill Bixby looking handsome as ever, and then it's like, don't make him mad. Don't make him mad. Uh-oh. And when his eyes turn green, you know you're in for trouble, because here comes Lou Ferrigno. The Incredible Hulk did not have a catchy theme song. It did have a good theme song, but it wasn't like, the Incredible Hulk is coming to get you. But I've been enjoying watching these. As some of you know, I recently picked up season 2 and 5 to complete my Incredible Hulk DVD collection. So now I'm moving forward watching the whole series, and it's been fantastic. If you didn't grow up in the late 70s, early 80s, you probably... So this is disc 1. This has the pilot, which is like sort of the backstory, and then there's Death in the Family, which is oh yeah, he was working on a ranch, and he had to fight the Incredible Hulk. And already in a couple of these episodes, the epic fights have begun. So in the Incredible Hulk Death in the Family, the Incredible Hulk had to fight a grizzly bear. It was awesome. Of course, he was playing with a trained bear, I would assume. And then when he got really mad and threw the bear, it was clearly a stuffed animal, a large stuffed animal. But that was a really good episode. And then I watched the final round, which was he was working at a gym. So see, the thing is, the Hulk, he's traveling around, he's running away from, all these bad episodes that he's been having, in search of that cure for his Hulkitis, if you will. But in this episode, the final round, he's working as a coach at a gym, and then he's not a coach. Sort of, but there's a guy that's like the kingpin at the. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. It's so boring. I was really into it though, so yeah. So then the man who runs the gym is also dealing drugs. And so there's this guy, and his nickname is Rocky, and he wants to be like a contender. But the kingpin drug dealer guy is making Rocky do these runs with the drugs. And then, of course, David Banner gets mixed up in it. The Hulk gets mixed up in it. There was The Beast Within, which was, oh yes, then he had to fight a gorilla in a cage, which was clearly a person in a gorilla suit. That was amazing. What's the other one here? Oh, Of Guilt, Models, and Monsters. Of Guilt, Models, and Murder. The picture isn't pretty when David awakens in a room next to a dead model. Is the Hulk a killer? Lonnie Anderson guest stars. That's right, Lonnie Anderson was a guest star in that episode. And then Terror in Times Square, which was awesome. That was David finds work at a Times Square arcade, but the job's hardly fun and games when he realizes that the owner is being blackmailed, and he also uncovers a murder plot. And then you see the Hulk in Times Square. It is awesome. Awesome. So yeah, I'm working my way through season 1, and so far it's been really fun to revisit. I haven't seen these shows since I was like, I don't know what year this originally came out. I think it was like 78 or 79. So I was like, 8, 9, 10 years old watching those shows. Loved watching those shows. And then the last thing I watched is one that I recently picked up. That's Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. I actually watched this last night. This was Paul Rudd's entry into the Halloween series, a young Paul Rudd. This was also Donald Pleasant's farewell, as he passed away. I think he passed away before the filming was done, actually. This is the one where Michael Myers was born of a cult or something. It was really not a good movie. I'm glad I got to rewatch it, but I'll probably be moving this along to somebody else who really likes it. I will say, I really hated part 5. I love part 4. I hated part 5, and this one's just kind of meh. It's like, but it does retain a bit of the atmosphere of part 4. It is, of course, set at Halloween, and there's pumpkins and there's kids running around, and there's a lot of murders in it. I wouldn't say they were necessarily brutal. A lot of them were very sudden. Just walking up behind somebody and slitting their throat. It was thin on story. Paul Rudd's hilarious in this, just because we know Paul Rudd now, but back then he is really nobody. It says here his credits include Diggers and Clueless. I think most people know him from Clueless, but I don't know. How can you even really comment on it? Another franchise that should have just been left at the first movie, and then that should have been it. But I know there's people that love all the sequels. It's okay. It's okay. Just watch the original, for God's sake. Okay, now on to music. It occurs to me I didn't bring my stack of CDs that I listened to, so I guess some of these I definitely did listen to, but some of them I just picked up yesterday. Some of them I have listened to, because I did pick up a few on Friday. I'll just jump in. I tried to watch that new Anaconda movie on streaming, and I turned it off. It was really, really bad. Don't waste your time, and don't listen to people who say it's good or it's funny or whatever. It is really stupid. Anaconda with actually Paul Rudd and Jack Black. It's really dumb. I just can't believe what people accept as entertainment these days. To me, comedic actors who want to remake the movie Anaconda from 1997 with J-Lo and Ice Cube, and they need like $2 million and they get like $9,000 approved loan, and then they go to the jungle, and like it was atrocious. I didn't even know how people made it through that movie. I think anybody who says it was a funny movie, they're just I think they're just trying to be cool, because don't do it. Okay, the first CD I grabbed was at, I should put these in order of where I picked them up. So I stopped at a few new places to me yesterday. Is that 4? Yeah. And then these ones are all from, I should have done this before I started to roll film. So the first CDs I got at Fanfare, which is a store in New Minas, Nova Scotia. I don't know if they're on social media, but cool little shop. The owner's name is Jody. He's a really cool guy. And there's lots of cool stuff in there. Records, CDs, t-shirts, guitars, amplifiers, DVDs, pins, socks. There's even a, what was that band? There's even like shot glasses and like glasses with band names on it. I forget what, there was some glass and it had a black metal band on it. And I thought, that's weird. Who's sitting around drinking out of a Gorgoroth glass or something? But anyway, more about metal in a few minutes. So they have a deal there. It's 4 CDs for $20, which isn't bad. And I found a couple of, wait, that's not right. I've still got these mixed up, guys. And I think I'm missing one. I'm definitely missing one. Oh, well. I'm not stopping filming. We've got 17 minutes in. So the first CD I picked up at Fanfare, which I do not have in my, I wonder if I can see it from here. Because I know I just listened to it. Here it is. The first CD I bought at Fanfare is, I got another Hound Dog Taylor CD. This one is Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers. This is Alligator Records, 1971. Look at that. Look at that picture. I won't bore you with details about Hound Dog Taylor, rest in peace, but suffice to say, this is the second Hound Dog Taylor CD I found in a matter of weeks, which is really cool because I just don't see these out and around much anymore. Somebody had traded in their CD collection to Fanfare, and I was able to grab this one. Yeah, this is just great. I listened to this yesterday before I went out for the day, and it just put me in a really good mood. It's real. This is to me, this is like real blues. This is the sludgiest, hollerinest, slide guitarinest. This is the real shit right here, kids. So if someone tells you, look, B.B. King's great, John Lee Hooker's great, but if you want the real deal, Hound Dog Taylor and his House Rockers, baby. Doesn't get much better than that. On a totally different note, I picked up Striker. This is, I believe this is their debut album. This was put out on, I think this is like totally independent. Like totally. This is record-breaking, put out on Record Breaking Records. And there's some cuties there. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think this is their debut album. This is from 2016. And I think these guys are from out west, somewhere in Canada, Western Canada. Edmonton, maybe? Alberta. I got to see these guys in Ottawa in the early summer of 2019, I want to say, or 2018. I saw them on a speed metal night at, now I forget the name of the place. In Ottawa, the Arcade and Pierogies place. It's awesome. But yeah, I was there as a delegate at a radio community radio conference, and there was a speed metal night, and I went, and it was Striker and Manacle and Action. Yeah, great show. And so I was really happy to find this because, again, it's one you don't see out in the wild very often. I also picked up another great Canadian CD. That's The Grapes of Wrath. And their album is September Bowl of Green. I've never owned this in any format. I've always really liked Grapes of Wrath, especially that song Misunderstanding. But there's a lot of lot of really good tunes on here. This has a previously unreleased live version of Breaks My Heart. This is from, I want to say 80, yeah, it was recorded in 85. I think it's 86, Capitol Records. If you've never heard Grapes of Wrath, they're like a sort of a jangly, I don't want to say folk rock, but sort of a jangly pop rock band from, I believe, from British Columbia. And I also believe this is their first full-length album, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, great stuff. And I really didn't know this album much. But I did put it on in the car. I listened to a lot in the car yesterday, and I really liked it. It's so, I mean, it's kind of cliche to say it's so of its time, but it really is it sounds like Canada 1985 to me. And what's weird is this was originally on Network Records, home of Skinny Puppy, and I was also really into Skinny Puppy, which is like very different sounding band from this, but I've always maintained I like lots of different kinds of music if it's done well and it's something that speaks to me. So happy to have that. Definitely going to give it more listens because like I said, the songs were really growing on me listening to it in the car, and just great stuff. I also thought now, if you grew up in the Maritimes in the 80s as a teenager or young adult, a lot of the bands from Halifax, kind of when I was listening to like Grapes of Wrath, I was like, this reminds me a lot of like 100 Flowers and Straight Jackets and Blackpool and like a lot of those early Halifax bands. It's like that jangly college rock kind of thing. Probably a little bit of REM mixed in there, but good stuff. And then the last thing I got at Fanfare, which is one I was on the hunt for, Everything But the Girl, and this is the album Walking Wounded. This is put out on Atlantic Records. I believe this was 1996. And anybody who's been watching my channel knows that for a while, knows that I picked up a couple of CDs by Everything But the Girl, hoping it would give me the same feels as this album, but they were kind of started out very different from how they landed on this album, which is kind of that, not techno, but like that kind of dancey, mellow kind of music. But yeah, this is a great album. And yeah, I see that I had seen this album everywhere I went for years and years and years, and I never picked it up because I was like, just not in the mood. And then when I was in the mood to listen to it, I could not find it anywhere. So hats off to Jody. Finally did find it. I picked up a lot of stuff, guys. Then I went to the SPCA thrift store in New Minas, Kentville, Nova Scotia. And for $1, I picked up some more blues. I got Willie Dixon, I Am the Blues. And this was one of my vinyl records that I got rid of last year. That I was hoping I could replace on compact disc, and I replaced it for $1 Canadian. So very cool. Nothing on the inside. Great blues album. This has got I Can't Quit You Baby, Spoonful, Hoochie Coochie Man. So many good tunes. And Willie Dixon had such a great, deep, powerful blues voice. Really happy. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's in my pile to listen to. I'm going to move these because they keep falling. So then I went to a new store to me, Obsolete Records in Halifax, which the owner told me, I think he's been in business for 16 years. I should write down the addresses to these places so if anyone wants to check them out. But if you do a Google search, Obsolete Records Halifax, great little shop. I didn't get the owner's name, but we did chat for a while. And I found some gems. The first thing I found was Vivian Girls. This is Everything Goes Wrong. This was put out on In the Red Records from 2009. When I was working at the radio station, I heard this album for the first time, and I instantly fell in love with it. It's like real good, fast indie pop. Actually, indie, I guess. I'm assuming in the Red Records is an independent label. But yeah, I don't know much about this band, and I don't know much about their other albums, but there's a picture of the band there. This band is just really cool. Some might argue that a lot of their songs sound similar, but you know, for me, it's like the Ramones. If you like Beat on the Brat, you're probably going to like pretty much everything the Ramones does. And for me, Vivian Girls, I heard one song off this album, and then I was like, oh, that's really good. And then I listened to the whole album, and I was like, it's more of the same, and it's awesome. So yeah, I don't know other albums by Vivian Girls, but I don't even know if they're still around, but this is a great album. If you like really, it has kind of like a really fast tempo, indie, jangly pop kind of thing. It's great. Can't wait to re-listen to that. Then I went, oh yeah, so this is still from Obsolete, sorry. So there's a little story here, and it's kind of sad, but a gentleman who was a huge fan of music, especially hard rock and heavy metal and extreme metal, had recently passed away. And he was a person he was blind, and he was in his 60s. I don't know what happened to him, but when I went into Obsolete Records, there were huge bags of CDs on the floor, and I could see at the top it was mostly metal. So I was like, oh, can I flip through these CDs? And the owner said, yeah, sure. I haven't priced them yet, but if there's something in there you like, just bring it up and I'll give you the price and ring you through. So I started digging through, and it was a massive collection. So he did tell me the name of the person. I can't remember, but it was, it's kind of weird. It's like kind of put everything into perspective a little bit. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but it was like, oh yeah, we're going around collecting all these things, and then someday, you know, you can't take it with you. So you got to hope that they end up in a cool place like Obsolete Records, and somebody else comes along and loves them and adds them to their collection. So these next 6 CDs are from that person's collection, and so I did say a little, you know, a little ode, a little wish to that person to rest in peace, and to thank them for clearly doing the legwork in collecting these things, because I mean, I couldn't even get through all the bags. There was so much. Like, my knees were killing me trying to crouch down and look through them, but it was a massive collection, and this person definitely loved metal. And so hats off to that person. I hope that you are at peace now, and thank you for collecting the things you did so that other people can enjoy them after you. And I guess that's the whole purpose of this thing, is eventually all of this stuff will go somewhere else, and somebody else will enjoy it. Hopefully it won't go somewhere where nobody can get to it. So the thing is, with these CDs, they all have Braille on them, which was kind of, at first I was like, oh, these CD cases are all cracked, but no, they all have Braille on them, so this person could, you know what the CDs were. So this first one is the band Earth, and this is one I've been looking for a long time. This album is called The Bees Made Honey in the Lion's Skull. This is put out on Southern Lord Records. I believe this is also from like 2009 or something around there. Doesn't say on the outside. Oh, 2008. There's the album jacket. It did come with this fancy slipcover, but that's the actual album artwork there. Very cool. And I'm trying to remember. I think I got onto this band when I was working at Backstreet Records in Fredericton. I think there was a copy there, and I listened to it, and I instantly fell in love with it. Earth is a sort of a heavy, doomy, stoner, desert rock type band. I just recently learned from my friend Chris that there's actually a documentary about this band. So I am kind of hoping to be able to find that somewhere, or be able to watch it somewhere at least. But yeah, this is a great album. 7 tracks, heavy, heavy duty, spacey. You know, if you had a couple of gummies and put that on, I bet it would be fantastic in the ears. So just think, you know, that person ran their fingers along that at some point. And so, again, rest in peace to that person. And then up next, I got 3 CDs by the band Toxic Holocaust. There was a 4th one, which I did not get, just because it was my tally was adding up pretty quick. But I got From the Ashes, which I think is like sort of a compilation of, I don't want to say greatest hits, but a compilation of tracks. This is put out on Relapse Records. One of my favorite kind of, well, I can't even say newer because I think they started in the early 2000s, but the new school of thrash metal, blackened thrash metal. So this is a cool CD. It's like they boiled down, what's his name? Joel Grind is the main person behind this project. In fact, I think a lot of it is just him doing all the instruments, but it's really boiled down. Toxic thrash metal, it says right there. You've got Metal Attack, Deathmaster, Created to Kill, Arise from the Cemetery, Thrashing Death, Never Stop the Massacre, Death Camp, Reaper's Grave, Death Brings Death, Nuke the Cross, 666, Agony of the Damned. This is right up my alley. This is like nuclear horror movie thrash, blackened thrash metal. It's awesome. I was really happy to add these to my collection. This one's probably the one I'm best familiar with, and that's An Overdose of Death. Look at that cover. The Wolves of Chernobyl coming to get you. This has Wild Dogs, Nuke the Cross, Future Shock, Grave Lord. I really love this album, actually. There's Joel on the back looking pretty menacing. This like, excuse me. I put this in with like Municipal Waste, bands like that. They sort of took the elements of 80s thrash, like the real gnarly thrash, and just boiled it down to like just those really essential riffs. Sped it up, added these kind of like nuclear end of the world kind of imagery and Satanism and all the good stuff. But yeah, this is great. I saw them live around the release of this album, which I believe is also like 2008 or 2009. I saw them in Fredericton, actually, at a little bar. Yeah, this is from 2008. And it says, "Turn up the evil." Yeah. Pretty sick. So we're really excited to do a deep dive into these at some point. Excuse me. And then finally, I got this album also from Toxic Holocaust. This was recorded in June of 2003, and this is the album Evil Never Dies. And of course, that's the title track. There's a song called Enemy of Jesus. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. 666 is on here. Fallout, Atomic Destructor with K's instead of C's. This is early on. This is early on. Here's a picture of Joel with his Slayer Haunting the Chapel t-shirt. Pretty cool. Blood spatter behind him. He looks a lot different now. He grew his hair out and bleached it blonde. Quite sexy, actually. I really enjoyed that concert. But yeah, I don't know. The last album they put out, which was 2019, I was not a big fan of it. They went a bit more kind of slower tempo. Still good, but it lost its thrashy edge, and I kind of checked out on that. Then also from this person, I got Creator Extreme Aggression, which is one I've been on my wish list for a while. This is German thrash metal from 1989. This is put out on Epic Records. Some of you might know this on Betrayer. It was kind of well, I don't want to say a hit, but it was on rotation on the music video channels. Yeah, I've always loved this album. I had this on I had like a copy on cassette, but I've never actually had a nice copy of it for my own collection, so glad to add that. Interesting, the outer sleeve is like that shiny plastic. The inside is almost like a comic book. Don't think I've ever seen that before. But this would be an oldie, 1989, CBS Records. Epic and CBS Records. And the spine is sun-faded, as you can see, but this side's all right. But this is great. Real good, like really tight thrash metal from Germany. And then the last thing I got from Obsolete Records, which is also from that person's collection, I got Sleep. And this is an album from, I think, 2018. I'm not mistaken. Yep. Called The Sciences. And as some of you know, I've been on a bit of a sleep kick lately. Sure. Breakfast. Win a date with sleep to have breakfast. There's some gnarly pictures of them there. The really, really awful part of this is I learned that Sleep played in Halifax in 2019, and I didn't know. And I learned that yesterday, and I was really, really sad. I don't know how I missed that, but anyway. Happy to add this to my collection. This is when they were kind of making a bit of a comeback, and this is on Third Man Records, which I believe is Jack White's record label. So yeah, so thank you to that person for grabbing these CDs and passing them along to a good home. And if you're out there in this outer space listening to me, or spirits out there listening, know that your CDs went to a good home, and a home where I will enjoy music. Then I went to Select Sounds in Bedford, Nova Scotia. That store's really, really tiny. It's like the size of my apartment, maybe a bit bigger. And it was a Saturday afternoon, and all of the vinyl record geeks were out, and it was testing my patience a little bit. Let's just say that, because you have to ask somebody to move out of the way in order to get to another section of the store. That's how tight it is. So there were a lot of I shouldn't judge. There was a lot of really awesome, nice people that I talked to, and we talked about music, and we talked about jazz. There was a few in there that were kind of taking up more space than they really should have, as far as like ego and attitude, and I don't have time for that. We're all in there to find cool music and enjoy it and talk to other people. You don't need to be shoving people to get around them and just acting like a pompous fool. John Zorn once had a shirt that said, how did it go? Eat shit, jazz snob. That's what his shirt said. And that's kind of how I felt yesterday. But I did talk to a nice older gentleman who was buying some John Coltrane records, and he was really sweet. So shout out to him. And we chatted a lot about music and that. We talked about vinyl and that, and I said I was getting out of vinyl, or I've gotten out of vinyl, I should say. I was getting back into CDs, and there was kind of like a mutual respect there, but a couple of people were not so nice, so yeah. Anyway, I did find some cool stuff in there. The first thing I found, which I listened to this morning, is The Vaselines, A Complete History, The Way of the Vaselines. If you don't know the Vaselines, you probably actually do know the Vaselines by proxy, and that is because Nirvana did covers of Vaseline songs. Son of a Gun, Molly's Lips, Jesus Wants Me for a Sunbeam. So Kurt Cobain was a huge Vaselines fan, and Nirvana did a bunch of covers of Vaseline songs. So you probably know some of those songs. And Molly's Lips, did I mention that one? No, I didn't. Or I did. But this is a cool CD. I didn't have any Vaselines in my collection, so I was really happy to add that. There's even I've listened to some of their stuff online and stuff, but this has actually a cover of a song by Divine from the John Waters films, a song called You Think You're a Man, which really sticks out from the rest of their songs because it's like an electronic dance song. But these guys are like jangly. If you like the Pastels or the Spinnanes or that early K Records and International Underground pop underground thing. I can't seem to clear my throat. Yeah, cool. I listened to this morning with my first coffee, and it was fantastic. Great music for the spring too. It just gets you in that bopping, hopping, sun's coming out kind of mood. So the next thing I got, which I did not have in my collection, but have not been able to find it for a long time. From 1979, I got Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. I didn't have this in my collection. I only ever had Joy Division's Substance, which is kind of like a collection of their singles and stuff. But I didn't ever have this CD in my collection. And I'm just being, transparent. I'm not trying to be a hipster. I love Joy Division. They were a great band. But I did not have this album. And I know this is like probably one of their best known albums. This was put out, this was made in Germany from 1992, this reissue. The album originally, of course, from 1979. If you don't know Joy Division, stop this video, go look up Joy Division on Spotify or YouTube, or go to your record store and buy a copy. But yeah, happy to add that to my collection. Yeah. I have Closer, and I have this one too, which is Permanent, 1995, and I believe that's kind of like also a collection of singles. And I think they only had, 2 studio albums, I think, Unknown Pleasures and Closer, but of course, with any of those bands, they become legacy bands, and then they put out demos and unreleased stuff and blah, blah, blah. So all these were previously enjoyed CDs. This one was new for $17.99. It is Rich Man's 8-track by Big Black. This is a remastered by Steve Albini and Bob Weston at Chicago Mastering. I'm not sure when this remaster was released. There's no date on it, but again, another one that I had like tapes of Big Black, but I don't know if I ever actually owned. I had songs about, I had that one, but I didn't have any other ones, and I really want to get the early ones. Lungs and Hammer Party and all those ones. Hard to find, honestly, guys, when you're out looking in record stores. You don't see these around much. This has Jordan, Minnesota, Passing Complexion, Kerosene, Fists of Love, Stinking Drunk, Cables. This has a lot of my favorite songs by Big Black. And this, of course, was Steve Albini's original band, Rest in Peace, who passed away a few years ago. A very, very excellent musician, and also a great producer of lots of your favorite records, including Nirvana. So Big Black, angry, angular, dissonant, drum machine, tinny, sonic assault of just amazing nastiness. Super, super excellent band. I mean, yeah, I always liked Big Black. I think it was my friend Sasha who turned me on to them originally. But my friend Sam had a bunch of their records, so I made like a compilation of my favorite songs on a tape. But yeah, really happy to add that to my collection. I also picked this up, which is another kind of like, these are hard to find when I go out shopping, but this is from Trojan Records, the original Jamaican Sounds. This is a compilation called Trojan Presents Dub 40 Deep and Heavy Hits. This is a 2-disc set. This has all the usual suspects, the Upsetters, the Aggravators, King Tubby, the Observers. Who else is on here? Prince Jammy, Barrington Levy, The Scientist, Prince Farai, Burning Spear, lots of really, really good stuff. This says collecting 40 earth-shattering sounds from the golden age of dub music, mixed and performed by the influential pioneers who pushed the sonic boundaries and influenced disco, punk, dubstep, and much more. Essential, it says. So yeah. And I did listen to this on the car ride home from the city, and it put me in a really, really chill and happy mood. Again, you might want to enjoy some recreationals. But yeah, this is great. I'm just trying to see if they have... So there's like a ska... These are all the... I guess these are other titles in that range. So you've got Raga, Rocksteady, Ska, DJs, Original Reggae, Roots, Lovers, Rock, Mento and R&B, which I think I actually had the vinyl of that, Dance Hall, and Classic Reggae. What I'd really like to find, and I think it's out there somewhere, is the Skinhead Reggae compilation. But Trojan does it up nice, lots of liner notes, lots of cool images from the past. Really happy to add this to my collection. I had some dub records when I got rid of my vinyl, and I was a little sad to get rid of them, but this has got 40 hits on it. This will probably do me for the summer. Really, really fun. And then the last thing I got at Select Sounds, which is another one that was brand new, and it was a bit more. It was I think it was $24.99, but man, I didn't even know these existed. And the owner of the store had 4 of them in an elastic band. My Bloody Valentine. These are like, I don't know if these are like deluxe reissues from MBV Records and Domino. This is the EPs 1988 to 1991. And this has, you can freeze it if you want, but it has all of their early EPs on one collection. And then it folds out, and there's the images of all the EPs. So I used to have the cassette of this, and I used to have the cassette of this. You Made Me Realize and Feed Me With Your Kiss. So I don't really fully understand the whole deal with this because I don't, again, I guess I don't really look online much to see what's coming out for music and reissues and stuff like that. I just kind of, it's when I find them, I find them. But this has beautiful artwork inside the booklet, pictures of the band, the original cover art with the track listings. There's some pictures of the band. And I've been on a real MBV kick lately, so, and these early singles, I don't see these CDs ever. So this is a really nice way to have them all in one package, and I'm really looking forward to doing a deep dive on this. This has some different versions of songs from what it looks like. So yeah. So they also had all of the main albums like Loveless and This Isn't Anything, and the 2013 Blue album. So these are available, I guess, in your record stores, but this was the only one that really spoke to me, just because I don't have any of those early EPs. Excuse me. And yeah, so massive CD haul this week, guys. That's not going to happen often, but I did go to the city and treat myself a little bit. So now we skip over to what's coming out on physical media this upcoming week, and hopefully we won't go over too much of the hour length, which is where I like to keep it. So March 31st, this coming Tuesday, the new releases, according to Blu-ray.com. These titles are not guaranteed by me. I'm just listing off what Blu-ray.com lists. For March 31st, 2026, Marty Supreme, starring Timothy Chalamet, comes out on 4K. I believe that it's a digipack. There's also there should also be a Blu-ray and a DVD. The Salem's Lot from '79 comes out on 4K from Arrow Video. Body of Evidence from 1993 is coming out on 4K, starring Madonna. Demon Warp is coming out from 1988 on 4K. I didn't see who's putting that one out. That is Vinegar Syndrome. For you 90s thriller fans, Outbreak is coming out. Dustin Hoffman from 1995 is also coming out on 4K. The Blade is coming out on 4K from Criterion. It looks like a martial arts thing. Forgotten Gialli Volume 9, 1991 to 1994 is coming out. The Return of the Pink Panther is getting 4K treatment from 1975. Ray, the Jamie Foxx biopic of Ray Charles, is coming out on 4K from 2004. Let's see, anything else? Devil's Reign is getting a 4K. I wonder who's putting that out. That would be possibly something I would be interested in. Severin Films from 1995 is coming out on 4K. We have Scooby's All-Star Laugh Olympics from 1977 to 1978 coming out on Blu-ray. That would be really fun to revisit. Let's see what else. Something called Greenland is coming out on 4K. Criterion is also putting out a picture called A Man and a Woman from 1966. What else here? There's a lot of like older stuff that I don't know. The Roost. Oh, Little Nicky is... Lucky you, Little Nicky, starring Adam Sandler, is getting a steelbook. I'm sure there'll be lineups for that. Oh, the new SpongeBob movie's coming out. This is how I know I'm not cool. Search for SquarePants is coming out on Blu-ray this coming week. Blu-ray and 4K, or Blu-ray and DVD. I don't know if there's a 4K. The Gambler with James Caan is coming out from 1974. I'm not familiar with that movie, though I do like 70s James Caan. Married to the Mob is coming out on 4K. What else? A lot of older catalog things, like a lot of oldies. Bob Hope in Variety Girl from 1947. Yeah, it looks like a lot of that. So, wow, this is like a catalog heavy week. I'm not going to dive all the way into all this stuff. I'm just looking at, yeah, you can go over to blu-ray.com/movies/release dates. On the drop-down menu, put in the Canadian flag if you're in Canada, and it'll tell you what's coming out. What is this? There's something called SARS Wars, Bangkok Zombie Crisis. I'm not even kidding. What is this movie? Do you want to see it? It looks really bizarre. That's an actual thing. SARS Wars. I don't know. Somebody out there is probably excited. SARS Wars, Bangkok Zombie Crisis. And there's like a lady dressed as a schoolgirl with an axe. There's a man with a lightsaber-ish thing. I'll be like Kevin Smith. I hope Mark Hamill's like, I hope George Lucas doesn't sue us. That's bizarre. Let me know if you know that movie, because I definitely don't. SARS Wars. What else? We got Dead to Rights coming out on Blu-ray. Robot Dracula is also getting a Blu-ray treatment. That's about it, guys. I don't really see it. Like I said, go to blu-ray.com/movies, change the calendar, or if you're in Canada, change the location to Canada, and you will see what's coming out this coming week. Oh, this is interesting, though. On April 3rd, there is a Blu-ray coming out called Born Innocent, the Red Cross story. And this is a documentary about the band Red Cross. So that looks like it could be something cool. Red Cross is definitely one of the most important bands in America, says Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth. This co-stars Jeff McDonald and Steve McDonald, members of Pearl Jam, the Go-Go's, Soundgarden, Black Flag, the Bangles, Sonic Youth, Air, Melvins, L7, Mudhoney, Dinosaur Jr., Veruca Salt, the Muffs, the Fastbacks, That Dog, Circle Jerks, the Linda Lindas, Minutemen, and the Germs. So that's kind of interesting. I noticed, maybe I'm just new to this, like I'm noticing on Fridays they seem to put out a lot of like music DVDs and Blu-rays, which is cool. So that's coming out on Friday as well. And just looking ahead to the following week, we'll be into April finally. I dropped my bike off at the bike shop to be tuned up this past week. It was snowing when I dropped my bike off. It was ridiculous. Just looking ahead, next week doesn't seem to be a lot of newer stuff. It seems to be, again, more catalog stuff, but we will get to that, I guess, when we get there. Yeah, it doesn't look like a very good week for stuff. Just looking ahead, it looks like a lot of catalog stuff in the upcoming weeks, but I will mention those in the coming weeks right here on the Hangout. Guys, that's it for me for today. We've been almost an hour, so I hope you enjoyed all this stuff. Thank you for sticking in if you made it to the end. Let me know in the comments below if any of the stuff I picked up is stuff you love or stuff you hate or stuff you're indifferent about or stuff you're looking for. Yeah, that's it. This week, I'm actually getting a bit of a break starting Wednesday. I'm going to have like 5 or 6 days off to myself, which is nice. I'm going to be moving some more stuff over to my mom's house and just moving in to support my family a bit more, and also just the cost of living and my salary is making it so that this beautiful place I currently live in is becoming unaffordable for me. So I'm gonna move in with them and hopefully try to save some money and clear up some debt and get out on my bicycle and take some trips to the city, and planning on a vacation in July, so I might be able to hit up some other random thrift stores as I go. We'll see. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm just waiting for the warm weather to come. I think we're supposed to get a bit of snow today, which is depressing, but we'll deal with it as we go, eh? That's how the world goes. But I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're taking good care of yourselves and getting ready for the spring and then the summer. And then, of course, we all know what comes after the summer, which I'm not going to rush it, but of course, we all know the fall, which is my favorite season, or one of my favorites anyway. I guess I like all the seasons at this age, but it's, of course, horror movie season and cozy time. But we got a ways to go before we get there. I'm in the spring jitters, kind of get out of the house and breathe in some fresh air and ride my bike and see flowers and talk to people and all that jazz. Also, it's a good time for some of you who have been with my channel for a while know that my main job is working with my niece who lives with an intellectual disability. And so in the summer, her and I go out a lot in the outdoors. We go for walks. I got some funding from a local charity, and we got her a really nice radio flyer wagon. So I like to get out in the summer, take her for walks, and she seems to like going around and seeing the dogs and the birds and the trees and all that jazz. So I was talking to a few people this past week about anticipation and how we've lost our ability to enjoy anticipation. So that's kind of where my mind is at right now. It's just like, enjoying the anticipation of the things that are coming, but also being present and enjoying the moment. So that's it, guys. We hit the 1 hour mark. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed and you like this kind of content, you can subscribe. You don't have to, no pressure. And until next week, I guess that is it officially. So take good care of yourselves, take good care of your friends and family, take care of your community, support local business. If you're in Canada, support your local Canadian distributors and makers and people in your community. Spend your money at home on Canadian products as much as you can without being too, I'm not trying to be preachy, but you know, it's a reality. And yeah, that's it. So you know the drill, guys. Until next time, I will see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. But until next time, take good care of yourselves and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.